Here we are in the pre-show. Just still getting a little set up here, working all the way up to the last minute on some client work. And just hopped over in. Got to make sure I have all my right buttons pushed. And here I got to turn this computer so I can get at my plug-in in the back. The misplaced plug-in. Those would sure be nice if they built that into the front side of the computer, you know? All right, there we go. How's everybody tonight? I trust you are all okay. And I saw Roger Rabbit in here quite early, and I saw Leslie in here quite early. And I see you made it back. That's a good thing. And see who else we got. We got Matthew Sainsbury. Good to see you, brother. Grumpy Stack is here. Good to see you as well. And who else is in here? We got Elderberry. How you doing, brother? So we got just a few minutes left here, and we go in. Roger Rabbit, there you are. And remember, we started 9:04:25. We click into the network. But I've got to turn on the stream right now. There we go. Just to make sure everything is ready to roll. And how was everybody's day? It was okay here. So just doing work for clients and trying to see where we go next with a bunch of stuff. Sometimes your earnings, when you're an independent like I am, you can make 3-4 months worth at one time. And if you're not careful, a couple of months down the road, you'll make $300 for the whole month. So we're kind of in that mode right now. So, but it'll turn back around too. So always does. Hey, Susie Q, Sarah Yusuf. Good to see you. We've got a little less than 2 minutes and we go live. And what all am I thinking here? Hey, Romeldian. Good to see you as well. Carly Sagan. Good to see you. How's your day going? I hope it's all right. Don't make too much noise over there, son, but if you can haul most of that up, that would be nice. I got a client coming over in the morning, so that would be good. 2 of the kids are switching out bedrooms. Flynn's has been over here on the back side of that wall. Now Rowan is down here, and Flynn is upstairs next to mom and dad. So, hey, Elderberry. I don't know if I said hi to you or not. So, so we're getting there. Just killing a little time till it's time to roll. I can hear me. Hope you can hear you. Here, I'm going to copy this to the clipboard. For a little later, we've got some room if people want to call into the show regarding the topic tonight. If I ignore you, don't be offended. It just means it's not the right time to call you in. So I'm glad, Carly. I'm good to hear that. Okay, here we go, folks. Going dark, and then we'll roll.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad, so he can take me to Disneyland.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent talk.
Well, happy Monday evening, folks. Welcome to the Intrepid radio program. And I am your host, as usual, Scotty Roberts. And I don't think we ever have guest hosts, if I'm going to miss. But so that's it. I'm it. Tag I'm it, your host. Welcome to the show, and you're listening via OdysseyRadio.com. And that's ODYSY radio.com. You can go over there and you can listen to the audio stream of this program. There are no visuals over there, but you can pick up the visual. We're also broadcasting via video in two places. You can go over to Facebook to the Odyssey Radio page, and you can see it over there, and there is also a chat room there. Or you can come to my YouTube channel, and that's youtube.com/Scotty Roberts. And so come on over and join the chat room. You can join the family of Intrepids over there and join the live conversation. And sometimes that live conversation is lively. Sometimes that conversation isn't. And so it's just fun. And so come on over. And those of you who are there on the YouTube channel, why don't you go ahead and avail yourself of the memberships? Now, I know we had a few months where we weren't broadcasting, and so some people just let the memberships go. If you're here and you enjoy the show, click the join button down below this screen over on YouTube, and you'll see 3 ways you can become a member. And we will make sure we start fulfilling all of those fun things at those 3 different levels. And the show is always no charge, of course. And but then we've got 3 levels that show different things that you can get. I think they range from $5 to $15, if memory serves. I have to go look at it again. So, and also when the show ends on Odyssey Radio tonight, we will keep the cameras rolling and the sound going over on the YouTube channel. And you can come and I think I was going to say only, but I think it also broadcasts over on the Odyssey Radio channel on Facebook. So you can come on over here and you can, or stick around after the end of the show. And there's always a little more conversation. Where we let our hair down a little bit because we're not under the strictures of radio. And what we have to do over there. Barbie D, good to see you over in the chat room. You're back for the whole show now. All right, good to see you. Teresa Dentone, is always so busy with her own show and her own stuff. It's so nice to have you here. Glad you made it into the chat room tonight. Roger Rabbit, Susie Q, Remeldian, Matthew Sainsbury, from Barbados. That's probably not a Barbadosian accent, but there you go. It's more Caribbean. Think of the Caribbean, man. And Grumpy Stack is here, and Susie Q, and Roger Rabbit, I think I said, Carly Sagan, Leslie Holker, and the list goes on and on and on. And if I repeated your name, forgive me. If I missed your name, forgive me too, because we're doing radio right now. We'll catch you a little later if I don't catch you on this side of the show. Just wanted to let everybody who's listening out there know that this is the place you can come and join the chat room. So thanks for being here, by the way. And I'm drinking tea tonight. I feel like I need to put out a pinky. This is such a heavy tankard, though, that I can't do the pinky thing very well. There we go. You can tell I'm not refined. I'm not a good git because the tankard doesn't allow me to put the pinky out. I'm not practiced enough. So, but I'm drinking tea for my throat, for my cough, and all of that. As you know, if you've been listening the last couple of weeks, you know, both Rainey and I have been down with some kind of sick. It ain't COVID, it's just chest cold. So my voice tends to wear out when I'm talking for an hour. So I thought maybe I'll try some tea with some honey in it. Maybe I need to splash a little scamper juice in that too. I don't know. We'll see. There. How's that? It's nice and warm going down the throat. I like that. Hopefully keep me in good voice for the night. Sorry, Yusuf. Good to see you. Yeah, it's my doctor said this is the kind of thing. Maybe you guys have had this before where you're coughing. It's just a dry cough. It's a nothing dry cough. And it makes you tired. And this dragged out for a couple of weeks for my wife. Now it's officially over 2 weeks for me, and it's a pain in the butt is what it is. So my doc, I had this once before a few years ago, pre-COVID. He said, you might cough for about 6 weeks, but you'll be fine. So there it is, some kind of bug. And Race Hobbs, how you doing, brother? Good to see you in the chat room over there. I appreciate the fact that you'd come in. Race Hobbs and the X. I wish I could say it like he does. The Un-X radio, the X. He's the big boss man over there that keeps the whole ship running. He's got some great ufological hosts over there. If you like that kind of stuff, go check out Race. And good to see you in the chat room, brother. And so tonight, I want to talk about Hypatia of Alexandria. Now, she's not necessarily a mystery of history, but she is a standout in history. And if you don't know who Hypatia of Alexandria is, we'll have to. Hopefully, by the end of this show, you will know who she is. She lived in the late 300s A.D. And she lived in Alexandria, Egypt, and she taught in the school there. And she was one of those amazing women in history. Now, I don't present her from a point of view of saying this is the age-old war between the sexes, men versus women, and women being subjugated and so on. She lived in a society in Alexandria that allowed her to do what she was doing. And so they were in a very healthy society, but she also lived in times when most women, the majority of women, weren't looking for that. They weren't looking to equate themselves with men's jobs. They wanted to be respected for what they did. They wanted to be respected as wives. They wanted to be respected as mothers, raising their kids, and all the things that women did in ancient Roman society. And this is Greco-Roman. This is in Alexandria, Egypt, about right around the late mid 300s to the early 400s AD. And so there was a lot of conflict, though, with the rise of Christianity. And Hypatia of Alexandria was a pagan, and she had pagan beliefs, but she was also a scientist and a mathematician. And she was a brilliant genius. And we're going to get into that in a little bit here. But before we do, I wanted to mention one thing that has come up in current events, which I got drawn into a couple of conversations about today. Let me preface this by saying I don't really care about this particular topic. It's the topic of what happened at the Oscars last night. who, unless you're living under a rock somewhere and totally missed it, you probably heard about it all day. And that is the fact that Will Smith, actor, slapped Chris Rock in the face. He actually walked up to the stage and smacked him in the face and went back and sat down. And then from the audience, yelled obscenities at Chris Rock. And it was all over an insult. Chris Rock told a joke, and he said something about Will Smith's wife, Jada, who is shaved bald. And I don't know if I wasn't watching them, and I haven't seen enough pictures of the event, but she was either shaved bald or her hair was really short because she had to cut it all off. She has alopecia, which is something, especially in women, they can lose their hair. And so she shaved her head bald because of this. It's a medical condition. Well, according to sources, Chris Rock wasn't aware that she had a medical condition. Other people say she did. So there's the conflicting news story that's out there. But he made a joke about her. I see, you've got your hair cut for G.I. Jane 2, which was, of course, well, how many years ago was that? 15 years ago? Demi Moore? Or is it Demi Moore? An early screen crush of mine, by the way. That's Rainey, I think, looks an awful lot like Demi Moore. But we won't go there. There we go. So Demi Moore played a woman that wanted to get into I think it was the Navy SEALs. And it was Viggo Mortensen who played Aragorn, was the drill instructor there. And it was that whole thing. It was like Officer and a Gentleman, only it was a woman, and so on and so forth. And so that was the joke that Chris Rock made about her haircut. And the house was laughing, and everybody was laughing. And then there were a couple of oohs like that. And even shots of Will Smith were sitting there, and he was laughing too. Now, either it didn't quite hit him right away, and he got pissed about it later, or my going theory is this. He was laughing. He knows comedy. He knows that comedy is all about offending somebody. Offense is what makes comedy funny. When you roast somebody, you're offending the hell out of those people. But roasts are meant to be good comedy. So unless they fall too close to home and somebody gets offended. Now, this is where I will also add in, remember what I say about offense. Offense. You can't offend me. Now, do I get offended ever? Sometimes. I get over it real quick. You know why you can't offend me? Because offense, being offended, requires me to appropriate the offense you're attempting to deliver. And if I don't appropriate it, if I don't recognize it, I am somebody that will say, nice try, but you're not offending me. You know why? Because I'm not appropriating your BS and or whatever it might be. And so I maintain my point, and I've made this point for years. You cannot be offended if you do not appropriate the offense. Or as we used to say, water off a duck's back. You can go ahead and try. Keep trying all you want. Ain't my thing. Hey, Paige Rockwell over in the chat room. Good to see you. And so that is my take on being offended. So my thought was this. Will Smith, I almost said Will Bird. I've said Will Bird 3,000 times in the last month. Those of you who know what I'm talking about with my book, you understand. Will Smith was laughing at Chris Rock's joke about the G.I. Jane haircut thing. And then he looked at his wife, and what did he see? She was pissed. She didn't like it. I don't know. Excuse me. I don't know if she was offended or if she was pissed or what it was. It doesn't matter. She was rankled by it. And the look on her face was not a pleasant look. And as soon as Will Smith saw her face and her reaction, he stood up, walked up on stage, and slapped Chris Rock across the face. Totally surprising Chris Rock. And I think his quote was, he says, Will Smith just beat the shit out of me. He's looking at the camera. He didn't know how to react to that. And here it is on national TV. This is happening. And then Will Smith sits down in his chair and he starts yelling at the stage obscenities. And I can't because of the radio station, I can't use the exact Effenheimer word that he was yelling. But Will Smith twice yelled, "Keep your mouth," let's see, "keep your effing mouth off my wife." Something like that. And he said it twice. Projected that way out. Everybody heard it. And it got kind of quiet in there, as you can imagine. Well, this is all broadcast on television. They cut it on American television. They had, they have a delay, but play it in Europe on TV. So he did not surprise Chris Rock, or he wouldn't have tucked his chin and leaned into it. I've heard that. I don't know. I've had guys threaten to fight me, Grumpy, and I've kept my hands clasped behind my back. I actually told one guy he was a scrapper and he threatened to knock the shit out of me. And I had my hands behind my back, clasped, just like Chris Rock did. He either had them in his pockets or behind his back. And I said, well, if you feel you need to take your first shot, go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. And it never happened. Some of that was bravado, but I think in Chris Rock's case, I don't think it was a setup. I think he was surprised. You can tell by his speech pattern after it happened. He was surprised by that. He didn't think that was going to happen. And maybe by the time Will Smith made it to the stage, he thought it was coming, but I think he still didn't know exactly what was going to happen. And the obscenities hurled by Will Smith after that, and the tone of voice, tells me it was not a put on. They're good actors looking for ratings, publicity. I don't think it was a publicity stunt at all. I disagree with you. As a matter of fact, the police were called, not by Chris Rock. And Chris Rock was asked if he wanted to press charges, and he didn't. But there is not a settled matter. And apparently there is some bad blood between them that goes back a few years. I don't know what the object of it was, but apparently there was something going on between them already. So, yeah, you know what? You can tell. You can tell the difference between somebody who's putting on and somebody who isn't. The way he tucked his chin and leaned into it. Remember, you're looking at a camera angle. The camera angle where you're seeing him leaning in, you also see Will Smith's knee. So the camera angle was very elevated and coming down at an angle. I don't think Chris Rock was leaning into it like, go ahead and hit me in the face. That didn't happen. So Kid Rock would have been funnier. Leslie says, Kid Rock rocks. Will Smith, no. So I always liked Will Smith. I liked his stuff. I like the stuff he does. He's a little nutty, though, sometimes. Some of the stuff he's into politically and so on. And I use political lightly there. And so there was a definite altercation. What possessed Will Smith to do that, I don't know. I don't think it was a publicity stunt. Neither Chris Rock nor Will Smith need a lot of publicity. Matter of fact, he won his Oscar last night for Best Actor. And I don't even know the film he was in because I didn't see it. But most actors who get Best Actor Oscars don't need to pull tawdry publicity stunts. So it was a real thing. I thought it was all in bad taste. Now, as far as I've heard people say Kid Rock shouldn't have said that about his wife. Well, Kid Rock was making comedy. Chris Rock, I'm sorry. And so I don't think that he knew. as somebody who knew him said a statement about him, and I got this from TMZ. I just went and looked it up, and I saw TMZ's story. TMZ, are they a reliable news source? Not really, but as far as I would consider news sources, but they're reliable when it comes, I think, to entertainment news. And so, Oscar ratings sucked. But a publicity stunt like that on the Oscar ratings, Doug, that's not going to draw people in to watch it. It already happened. By the time the world knew about it, Oscars were over. Now, if they had done a publicity stunt a day ahead of time, maybe that would draw people to watch. And these two are going to be on stage together tomorrow night. You know, that might have drawn, that would be a publicity stunt. But you know what? I don't think either of them need the publicity stunt. So for their careers. And what I've heard about Chris Rock is that Chris Rock, his people said he doesn't have a mean bone in his body. He's a pretty decent guy. And he wouldn't go out of his way to insult somebody who was sick. So that's the way I take it. So I look at that whole thing, and I've already spent way too much time on that because I've spent 26 more, about 13 minutes on that of 13 minutes of I don't really care about this time that I spent on that. But I thought I'd talk about it because everybody's talking about it these days. Everyone is losing it, and I'm watching it either way, says Delaney Pearl Jones. That slap triggered a feeding frenzy. Sure did. Sure did. And opposing feeding frenzies. If that was a publicity stunt, publicity stunts are meant to make something, people aware of something, and to go with that. It's a publicity stunt that benefits. And this one's not benefiting either of them. So, although you got sides drawn, and I don't have a side, I don't care. And I had people today telling me, well, you need to explain to me then. And I said, you know what? I don't need to explain nothing to you. You know why? I don't care. So the only thing I care about is, to me, it was two Hollywood elites. Both of them I've always considered to be decent fellows. Two Hollywood elites having a problem on national television. My kids had problems today. That's more important to me than what happened to Chris Rock and Will Smith. And on that note, I will end that. And we'll talk about another injustice, a bigger injustice. It's an historical injustice. That was not a publicity stunt. I've seen this event regarding HYPATIA of Alexandria. I've seen a lot written about it. I've seen a lot that has been portrayed in the movies. Some of them are accurate. Some of them are a little less accurate. I've seen documentaries on this stuff. And it's a tragic story of HYPATIA of Alexandria. So she was a hero who fought against societal norms, she's called by some people, because she was a woman in a man's job. But we've seen that from remarkable women all throughout history. I don't see her as fighting the norm, because I believe in her times that women expected that they would be doing other things, and they lived just fine with it. Some didn't like it. Some wanted to be the positive rabble rouser. Or as I have a book on my shelf, Uppity Women of Shakespeare's Time, because that's what they were. They were pushing to be recognized for the skills they could bring to the table, and there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think that Hypatia was an activist for women's rights as we think of activists nowadays. I think she did what she did, had to fight the system a little bit, but her dad really helped promote her and push her into the right places. And it just was what it was. She actually succeeded another woman who came before her and taught. So, in the Egyptian city of Alexandria, which is, remember, Luxor's way down the Nile, where I've spent most of my time in Egypt. Cairo is way up in the north at the beginning of the Nile Delta fan, where it fans out. And way up on the north on the Mediterranean coast is where you have Alexandria. And this is where you had the very famous Library of Alexandria. Could you imagine? The Library of Alexandria would be like the Library of Congress today, or the Library of the Smithsonian Institute. Even it wasn't so much a museum, but they had books there. I think it was like 35,000 books I read they had there. And books, of course, in different forms. We have mostly scrolls. And it was all different kinds of knowledge from all around the world. It was a repository of knowledge. And I talked just last week about how, remember when the Jews, Israel, after the captivity in Babylon, and they were sent back home to Israel, and they sent what's the word I'm looking? Not conflagration. A group of rabbis to Alexandria to ask permission to go to the Library of Alexandria and camp out there and recreate the Hebrew scriptures and look into Hebrew legends and Hebrew writings and Hebrew policy, Hebrew politics, Hebrew history. It was all there in the Library of Alexandria. And what they came out with, by the way, and I mentioned this just last week, what they wrote was called, in the Greek, the language of the day, was called the Septuagint or the Septuaginta. And that document is, if you go pick up a Bible today, just a King James Bible or a New International Version or whatever, you pick that up and you go to the Old Testament, what you're seeing there is the Septuaginta. That is, for all practical purposes, the same document they wrote in 400 BCE. So she lived about 800 years later, 800 years later, in late 300s. And so AD, CE, if you want to look at it that way. I say BCE, I should say CE to be consistent. So let's see. So there were 72 rabbis, is what it was, that went and built this thing, this document. Well, so she is in this city where there's the Library of Alexandria. There was also the Lighthouse of Alexandria, which was one of the amazing 7 wonders of the ancient world. And so this is the city she lived in. She was born there. And so it was the Egyptian city of Alexandria. It was founded in 331 BCE. And the brightest artists, mathematicians, scholars, and scientists that the ancient world had to offer at the time were all men. But among them was one of the earliest great female intellectuals, and that was Hypatia of Alexandria. Ancient Greece was still not a society where women were afforded the same educational opportunities as their male counterparts. And while Hypatia pursued greater knowledge and became one of the most respected figures in her time, not everyone appreciated her rise to prominence. And soon enough, she was threatened by an array of enemies. And so we want to talk a little bit about the story of Hypatia. She was a virgin scholar, and she was a hero, and she met a very gruesome end. Success isn't easy. She was born into a society that offers you fewer opportunities purely because of your gender. And it's no easy feat, and this is the problem, and it's relevant today in certain societies. But Hypatia had a stroke of luck. She was born around 370, and she was the daughter of a very esteemed mathematician named Theon, and the last professor at the University of Alexandria. And Theon decided to provide his daughter with a gift that few other women at the time were fortunate enough to receive, and that was her education. Like father, like daughter. While women were seen as childbearers in ancient Greece, Theon was, and remember, you are in Egypt here in Alexandria, but it's Grecian. It's thoroughly Hellenized at this point. And Theon was determined to see his daughter thrive, and he decided to raise her in the same manner that a son would be raised in ancient Greece, by teaching her his trade. And uh, by the way, when we talk about um, this is relevant today only in that there is still there was a struggle even in America where women had a right to do things, but they had to fight to get that right. It was only 102 years ago, 103 years ago, that women in our society in the United States of America had the right to vote. So only for the last 103 years. And all through that time, they worked very hard to be recognized for what they did. In so doing, we sometimes forget that there are a lot of women that like being moms, like being stay-at-home mothers, like raising their kids, don't want to be in the workplace. And they shouldn't be trodden under by a movement that is pushing to have women have the right to choose what they want to do. And when women have a right to choose their careers, what if they choose to be a mom? That's okay too. And I don't want us to forget that while we're talking about this kind of thing. But Theon taught her his trade. He taught Hypatia about subjects such as astronomy, mathematics, philosophy. He taught these to her from a very young age. And Hypatia dedicated her life to her academic studies, expressing a thirst to unlock fresh knowledge about the universe. She had ideas and she knew things were so, and she just couldn't always put her finger on it. She was working her whole life to figure certain things out about the universe. But that is what proved to be fatal for her in the end of her life. She started forming her own path. She excelled at mathematics, but she took a keen interest in astronomy. So much so, in fact, that she built her own astrolabes. Oh, I had an astrolabe sitting here. Look up astrolabe, and you'll see what it is. It's a little ground. The one I have is a little gold one, about that size, about the size of a silver dollar. And it's got a little peg in the middle, and it's got arms that move around, and you can tell certain things about astronomy, astronomical locations of things. You could sail with it if you wanted to. I had that, and I would wear that around a chain on my neck when I did Renaissance Festival, but it's actually a very old piece. Well, she helped develop them. And they were two-dimensional models of celestial spheres used to better understand the universe. If Flynn was here, I'd have him grab it. I think he had it and had it in his collection of stuff. So by the time Hypatia had reached early adulthood, she began to turn heads for a multitude of reasons. She would prove to be a prominent and even problematic figure. As you can imagine, a woman as successful as Hypatia in the academic realm was rather unusual, and it took some getting used to for some people. And by the way, she was also kind of hot by the standards of her day. And she was considered to be a very good-looking woman. So not only was she a scholar and an academic, she was hot. And but really didn't have a desire to get married and have kids. She wanted her independence. And she was a robed scholar. And soon enough, she developed a following entirely of her own. While she initially drew attention due to being the daughter of the highly respected Theon, Hypatia's prominence at the University of Alexandria would eventually overtake that of her father's. And she refused to give in to societal norms. Pardon me. And that cough just sneaks up on me. Let me take a sip of tea here. And so she envisioned herself as a teacher. That's what she wanted to be, and that's how she saw herself. She would drape herself in the robes of the academic elite. It's like the senators in ancient Rome when they had the white togas and they had a red or a purple stripe or a colored stripe, had to be folded a certain way and lay and drop, drape a certain way over the shoulder. Same thing with academic robes. She wore the academic robes of the elite. And she was seen as a controversial decision. That was seen as a controversial decision due to her gender. Hypatia's bravery paid off, though. She began to develop a significant following, but of course, not all who followed her meant her well. She attracted the crowds, and as a strong-willed woman, Hypatia had no reservations when it came to making her beliefs known. She declared herself a member of the Neoplatonic school of philosophy. And now, that was Neoplatonism, was a philosophy, a belief system that states that everything in the universe ultimately emanates from a higher power known as the One. Now, she was also pagan. So that one didn't necessarily refer to a one God. It was the one that may not even be in existence anymore. Everything emanated from one higher power. Now, Hypatia took these beliefs with her when traveling to the city center of Alexandria, where she'd deliver lectures on philosophy and the theories of intellectuals such as Plato and Aristotle. And she proved herself as a gripping public speaker. Hypatia drew in large crowds to her speeches. Maybe some of that had to do with the fact that she was a woman, but she also had something good to say. She knew her shit, and she disseminated that to people that would listen. So she was a lecturer at the university. She would impart her knowledge to flocks of enthusiastic students. They were eager to learn from the robed female intellectual who had mesmerized these crowds with her wisdom and her knowledge. And the secret to her success, despite her charisma and intellect, Hypatia's rise to the top of academia still proved to be a surprise, given societal gender norms of the time. And what exactly fueled her success? According to an array of scholars who've studied her life, it was Hypatia's celibacy. As a follower of Plato, who himself suggested the abolition of family system, it made absolute sense that Hypatia would maintain her chastity in an effort to devote herself entirely to her studies. Even a guy like the Apostle Paul, for all our misgivings about him and writing the New Testament and so on, having hijacked Christianity and so on, remember, he wrote in his works in the New Testament, he said, I wish all of you would be like I am, celibate, so you could dedicate your life to Christ and to spreading the gospel news and so on. That was his level of devotion, whether you see him as a usurper of Christianity or not. So that's what she brought into her studies. She devoted herself entirely to them. And assumed by all historical accounts, she remained a virgin throughout her entire life. And Hypatia's celibacy worked highly in her favor. This is because ancient Greek society saw celibacy as a virtue. And as a result, men and women respected Hypatia as she appeared almost sexless. And this also made her appear less threatening. And despite the fact that her brilliant mind allowed her to surpass all of her academic rivals, but just because Hypatia chose to not partake in sexual acts didn't mean that sexual advances weren't made toward her. She had a lot of them. She was in demand. The Pseudolexicon, a 10th century encyclopedia of the Mediterranean world, described Hypatia as exceedingly beautiful and fair of form. It was meaning she was hot and guys would have loved to see her naked. That's just the no ifs, ands, or buts. If you cut through it all, that's the kind of person she was. Good looking, hot, and in great shape. And there were many of Hypatia's students were just besotted with her exquisite beauty. One student appeared to be so head over heels for Hypatia that he went to extreme lengths to cure himself of his love sickness. And after being rejected on several occasions, the student proclaimed his love for Hypatia yet again. "Oh, how do I love thee? Let me count the ways, Hypatia." He just couldn't hold it back anymore. And but her response was, have you ever heard this story about her? Her response was classical. After being rejected on several occasions, the student proclaimed his love for her, and this time, Hypatia was so tired of dealing with this pup that she lifted her skirt, took the rag that was being used for her sanitary protection — she was obviously menstruating — and she threw it at the guy. And once the bloodied rag landed on the student, Hypatia scolded him, stating that his love, quote unquote, was purely lust, and that he had no understanding of the reality of women and until that very moment. But while the student got the message, Hypatia continued to attract male attention of another sort. There was a noble admirer of Hypatia's. Hypatia's students weren't the only ones who took note of her intense beauty. The witty scholar also grabbed the attention of Orestes, 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 who was the governor of Alexandria. And Hypatia and Orestes had a long-standing, deep friendship. And while many might view this as advantageous, it was this connection that was ultimately detrimental to the female pioneer. After all, plenty of men became hostile towards Hypatia, both those who were jealous of her success and those who viewed her as her paganism as a threat to their religious beliefs. Remember, Christianity was starting to take hold. And it just so happened that this was a time when Alexandria was on the brink of collapse anyway. And so there was this era of enlightenment from its inception until Hypatia's early life. The city of Alexandria was a beacon of culture and enlightenment, and with attractions such as the Library of Alexandria, which we talked about, which was said to house over 500,000, but I was thinking 3,500, 500,000, 500,000 books. And the university where Hypatia taught was housed in the Library of Alexandria. Alexandria rivaled Athens, Greece, as the center of civilized urban life and a place where scholars from all over the world would come to study. And considering that she had daily access to this grand library on a daily basis, Hypatia was truly in her element in the grand Egyptian city. And unbeknownst to Hypatia, many others, however, religious tension would soon bring Alexandria to the brink of absolute collapse. Tensions were building, and at the time of Hypatia's intellectual endeavors, Christianity was still a fairly new religion that was spreading rapidly across the then Roman Empire. And as Christian leaders embarked on a mission to spread their faith throughout the city of Alexandria, they were frustrated to learn that the governor, remember the governor, this dear friend of Hypatia's, Orestes, was still a practicing pagan who had no interest of converting to Christianity. And Cyril, the Christian archbishop of Alexandria, strongly believed that Orestes' reluctance was the result of his friendship with Hypatia. And this put her in real danger. You know why? It's like we talked about when we talked about the war that was going on between original Christianity, which had a more pagan flavor to it, and the what's the word I'm looking for? The literalist Orthodox Christian faith. There was a war going on between them. And how did the literalist Orthodox faith act? We will bring you to the love of Jesus by the love of Jesus with the sword if we need to. And so there was a fight for power now. Cyril, the archbishop, grew increasingly frustrated by Hypatia's influence over Orestes. And the pagans were not his only nemesis. The power-hungry archbishop also targeted Alexandria's Jewish population. And so Hierix, a Christian zealot, who was also one of Cyril's men, decided to infiltrate a local synagogue in an attempt to determine if the Jewish community was conspiring against the Christians. After being caught by the synagogue attendees, Jewish leaders approached Orestes, who severely punished Hierix for his actions. Now, naturally, this enraged Cyril, who became hell-bent on turning Alexandria into this Christian stronghold. And so the fall of the city comes as Cyril and his forces continued to torment the Jews. A group of Jewish extremists decided to take matters into their own hands. These militants launched a massacre against the city Christians, an act that unleashed Cyril's full wrath. This guy's an archbishop of the church. He encouraged the Christian community to attack the Jews, which they did. The Christians made their way through Alexandria, murdering a significant proportion of Jewish people and then expelling the rest from the city while confiscating their property, converting synagogues into churches in the process. And Orestes still knew he could not in good conscience be a bystander. No one was safe. So naturally, Orestes was furious that Cyril had been carrying on and carrying out these religious persecutions in his city. And in retaliation, the governor of Alexandria decided to reach out to the Roman government in Constantinople in protest. And Orestes was targeted by Cyril's monks for assassination in the name of God and the love of Christ. So while Orestes fortunately had bodyguards, there was another enemy of Cyril's who was far more vulnerable. Like wildfire, negative rumors of Hypatia spread throughout Alexandria, how she was influencing Orestes. And according to this gossip, the scholar had wedged herself between her friend Orestes and the archbishop, thereby preventing them from reconciling. And despite being a lie, the already infuriated Christian population of Alexandria was out for blood. Peter the Lector, one of Cyril's supporters, the Christian church, gathered a mob of monks in search of Hypatia. She walked home after a day of giving. She didn't walk home. She was riding her chariot home. After a day of giving lectures at the university, Hypatia was spotted by this furious mob. The mob mercilessly set upon Hypatia's chariot, attacking her, dragging her through the streets toward the nearby church. Once inside, Hypatia was stripped naked, beaten to death by monks of the Christian church under the orders of Cyril, and after which her corpse was burned and the remaining skin was peeled off with oyster shells. And while truly a horrific moment, Hypatia's death didn't mark the end of Alexandria's strife. So following Hypatia's tragic end, the religious extremists continued to attack anything that they perceived to pose a threat to their beliefs. And this included the destruction of the Library of Alexandria, as well as the burning of the University of Alexandria and all the scrolls, the 500,000 documents. And while her life may have been a tragic end, the tale of Hypatia does have a silver lining. It was her brutal death that drew so much attention to this early female pioneer and immortalized her in the history books. While she may have died in 415 CE or AD, Hypatia continues to serve as a hero to alternate thinkers, feminists, those who find themselves at odds with societal norms. No matter how much criticism was thrown her way, it's Hypatia's resolve, her curiosity, and her thirst for knowledge and teaching that lives on today. And so that's the basic story of Hypatia of Alexandria. Now, I'm going to recommend, if you have not seen it, there's a good movie called Agora, Agora, which was the Hellenistic Greek word for the marketplace, the open marketplace, the people who fear open spaces. Agoraphobia, agora is the name of this movie. Stars Rachel Weisz as Hypatia of Alexandria. She's the one who was in the Mummy movies, the first couple of Mummy movies, so you might enjoy her. But you should watch that. It's good. Some of the history is a little off, but it's still a good movie. So that's it, folks. We got a blast off. Stick around for the final when we go into the YouTube channel. And right now we have just a few seconds left. So you know what? I'm just going to tell you now. Live long and prosper.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Okay, folks, we're still here. Let me sign us out of the radio. Hang on a second. We're off air right now, and we'll continue on in the chat room over on the YouTube channel. So let me sign us out. Boom, we're done. Okay, we're here. And Rowan, yes, what can I do for you?
Do you think I'll get dress coded for this tomorrow?
I don't know. If they're not falling off of you, I don't think you should show midriff at school tomorrow.
I'm not going to.
So you're too young for doing that.
I'll fold up like that.
You might have to wear a shirt you can tuck in underneath that.
I'll be fine.
Yeah. No, you won't be fine.
Because if they yell at me, I can just pin one button that goes.
You're 10. Yeah. And there you go. If you kept that buttoned, defeats the purpose of wearing that. But there you go. Hey, Rowan, says Uncle Dave.
Dad? What am I showing here?
At the moment, nothing. But when you're walking around, that stuff comes loose and stuff. And I see your belly right now.
I always like this.
Yeah, I know. But you'll be doing that all day.
It.
Why wear it if you've got to keep paying attention to it all day?
Because why can't boys keep it in their pants?
Totally different thing.
No, it's not. That's
Sure
the
it
only
is.
reason why they put us on dress code. Because the teachers say it will turn the boys on.
Well, yeah, it does that. That's not my disagreement with it. I don't think you should be walking around at 10 years old with your midriff showing. What do you think, folks? What's your opinion?
I'm not showing anything.
Your midriff showing.
Yeah, Dad.
Well, okay. I got nothing to say then. Whatever Mom says. You do what Mom says.
I think midriff is better than butt cheeks hanging out.
Mm-hmm. But there's not a question about butt cheeks hanging out.
Yeah, want me to walk around with booty shorts on instead?
Mom made you put a sweater on last year and a t-shirt under them this year. Okay, maybe she's changed her mind now that you've grown up and you're 10 years old.
This one is okay as long as it's down, because it's down to her belly button. A little bit sticks out, it's okay. Our toilet is broken.
Which one?
Down here.
Great. Well, we'll have to turn off the thing and figure out why. So there you go, guys. It's 21st century. Everybody has a belly button. Yes, they do. And but not everybody has a dad at home. So Mom says it's okay. I'm up.
I'm gonna.
Such. Yes, Carly. I see your belly. Can you do that?
No, you don't.
Yeah, I did. No, I'm lying. So.
You don't see anything. See?
Yep. Okay. All right. So everybody, that was Hypatia of Alexandria. That's what that was all about. And I didn't know much about her until I saw that movie about 10 years ago. I had heard her name. I didn't know much about her, but Doug Stack says not everybody has a belly button. I hope they don't get rid of mine if I can ever afford to get it a reduction. Yeah, really. Ro, Uncle Dave says, if any boys give you any crap, you remind them your dad and your uncle own swords and know how to use them. That's right.
Mom told me to just punch him in the balls.
Well, I would have different solutions than that.
Because you're old.
It has nothing to do with age.
Yes, it does.
It has to do. You think so?
Yeah, back then they just talked it out. We use fists now.
No, back then they used to be more violent. Back then.
Did they use bats?
We have progressed a little bit. Statue of Hypatia still preserved, says Matthew Sainsbury. Yes. Will Smith is too old for what? He's 53. He's 53. So what's he too old for? Thanks, Carly. If that was aimed at us. All the hot air would flow out of the other end. And just Doug. I have a book that is a statue. That's okay. Dougster, all the hot air would flow. I don't know what that's referring to. Thanks, Teresa. And that's really all it was. It was an overview. It's pretty, she had a pretty detailed life. And I would highly recommend the movie. It is very well done. If you haven't seen it. Agara. I'll even type that into the chat room. Agara. There it is. So, Ro, ladies don't hit ladies.
Yes, they do.
Ladies don't hit ladies. No gentlemen who do the hitting for them. I am your gentleman. There you go.
Me and Claire got in a fist fight last year.
Yeah. It's lame.
I got in a fist fight with
I've been in fist fights too.
4 fist fights already this year.
Who still gets in fights, Iowa? Oh, Will Smith? Yeah. At 53? Yeah. It's a little dumb. I was in my last fist fight when I was 55. So, how about that? Let's see. What's Teresa say? I have probably not seen it, but it's not all that accurate as I understand, but a good movie. It's got its inaccuracies. They, of course, build up the friendship between the Roman governor, the governor of Alexandria, Ocestris, and Hypatia. They build it up to more than a friendship, that it's a romance that never quite takes off because she was celibate. And so, interesting stuff. I have heard different versions of her death, but only slightly different versions. She was dragged from her chariot and she was beaten and skinned alive and then burned. I think the version I talked about tonight was that she was beaten, then beaten to death, then burned, and her burned skin was peeled off. And the thing that bothers me about that is that these were all Christians behind it. I don't condemn all Christians because of that act, but it makes me ask the question, why would the church, capital T, capital C, the church, why would the church condone this kind of activity? So, hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good.
Good.
Hi.
There's Ellery. So, hey, Michelle Canham-Free. Let's see. They were out having beers an hour after that scene. Yeah, you know they were.
I'm going to bed.
Good night.
Who's that?
That's Carly Sagan. She says, hi, Ellery.
Hi.
Did you see that?
Who's
So
this? Okay.
that's Barbie D.
Hi.
So thank you, Michelle Canham-Free. Will and Chris are out having beers tonight. Probably not. I hear that this is a dispute between, there's something that goes back a few years on this that they've never resolved.
That one says hey, bro.
So I don't know what it
I know, because
was.
I'm amazing.
So Grumpy Stack says, hey, Bellery. You tell him off right there.
Where?
Uncle Dave Potter, Uncle Dave says, hey, Ellie.
Hi.
What's the hi?
Yeah, I'm actually going to bed now.
Okay, good night.
Stop pulling my blanket, Ellery.
Don't. All right, give me a good night hug. You got a good night too. It is, you got school tomorrow for the first time in 10 days because of spring break. School tomorrow morning. And it is now 10:06 and you are still awake. Good night. Okay, say good night to everybody.
Bye.
Bye. All right. So, hoy. So, it's bedtime. People become savages with a few drinks and a missed meal. Ain't that the truth? So. So, yeah, Cyril, by the way, Cyril of Alexandria, the Archbishop of Alexandria, who encouraged the Christian mobs to attack the Jews.
God damn it! You pick up that trash on the
There you go, folks. Direct from my house to yours.
Rowan kicked Ellie and she tipped over the trash in her hand.
Ellery hit me first. Because you hit me. It's self-defense.
I'm just glad that they waited till after the radio show was off air to do that. So, yeah, they go back to school tomorrow. But Cyril of Alexandria, who fomented all this hatred of the Jews and hatred of the pagans, and was behind the death of Hypatia of Alexandria, behind the burning of the library, because it was pagan literature, by the way. That's the big reason. He went on to be sainted by the literalist Orthodox Catholic Church.
Shut up.
He became sainted.
Oh my God.
So he is Saint Cyril of Alexandria. So,
I think people only listen to Dad to see how much yelling there is in the background.
yeah, I think people come to this show to just hear my kids yell and
Fight.
create problems.
I was born first. You didn't have to alive her.
Flynn was born before you, so
Yeah, we didn't have to alive you.
we didn't have to alive you either.
I'm gonna hit you.
But your mom and dad had sex. That's where you came from.
Nasty.
There it is. Cheers to all you parents who have sex. So, to rule the women and pagans through fear tactics. Exactly, Teresa. That's exactly what they were about. Why do you think the early church also diminished the role of go to bed?
Oh my God, I hate kids.
Doesn't take me taking her by the hand and showing her where her bed is. It takes her doing it. And she thinks she's getting away with something. So yeah, to rule the women and the pagans,
Oh my God, go
it's a
lay
fear
down.
tactic.
Hey, that's mine.
Hey guys,
Huh.
there should be no fighting at all because you should be in bed. Good night. Good night. Makes this show exciting, doesn't it? I had some people try to convince me that this was very bad for my show. And I said, you know, my audience has kind of gotten used to it a bit over the years. They like to come in and see this stuff. What I want to do is keep it off the Odyssey airwaves. It can stick around for if you want to watch this show and have fun with me and Rainey and me and watch our kids and stuff like that. I'm fine with that. I don't really care what as I would say, I don't give a good goddamn what anybody thinks about my family. We know what we're doing. We're in control of things, even when they are acting like they are in control or things are out of control. That's temporal. That doesn't last very long. And there are consequences. So, ASMR for birth control. Very clever. Thank you. Yeah, you see that? Our family could be the
Oh my
poster children for birth control.
God. Just go lay down.
I want to see Rainey get more screen time. This is Grumpy.
What?
And, Doug Stack wants to see you get more screen time.
I don't have pants on.
You don't have pants on. She doesn't have any pants, Doug. She can't come to the camera right now. When she puts her pants on, she'll walk over and say goodnight to you. So, don't be nasty. If only those thoughts would stay in 8 years, she'll be trying to sneak out to hang with boys. I think I'm following you, Dave.
This girl already likes to only hang out with boys.
Yeah.
She has boys over more than
Okay,
she
you
has
got
girls.
pants on yet?
No, I'm not.
Well, come here. You got a long shirt on.
It's not long enough.
Well, I'm not aiming at your kneecaps either.
Go lay down, you shithead, so
Here.
go to bed.
There you go. I think they've got her mad because now she doesn't want to come over.
Go in the wash machine.
Rainey doesn't have time. Are you kidding? Sure she does. She got time. Go to bed. Free shows, says Carly Sagan. It's sweeps week, says Field Guy. Yeah, she was walking way over there. I can't turn the camera that far, Roger. So. Why are you up?
What you think I'm gonna fall asleep?
Why are you up?
Think I'm gonna fall asleep in 10 minutes?
Yeah, go to
No,
sleep.
but you're supposed to be in bed 10 minutes ago. Consequences.
It's called going to the bathroom.
Let's see. I'll go to school if they go work for me, says Field Guy.
No.
Yeah, really.
I'll come work in a tire shop. You can come be a mom.
That was Field Guy. He's in a shoe store.
Oh, never mind. Fuck shoes.
You heard Rainey. Pants off party, says Carly Sagan.
Grumpy. That's what it is.
Yeah, grumpy.
Grumpy.
Here. There you go.
I got no pants on.
My wife has no pants on.
No pants on, and I'm drinking hot baking soda water.
Yum.
Those are messed up.
Okay, how can I get rid of that? There we go. There she is.
Hands on.
I will when I come to bed.
You wouldn't know if you were where you were supposed to be, in bed.
Yeah, I can
You got
hear
school tomorrow. I don't need mouth.
can
I don't
hear
need
you.
words.
I
I don't need input. I don't need feedback. I need you to do what you were told to do.
She's over there. Yip yapping. Fucking yip
See,
yapping.
you can't see it, but listen to this. That, my friends, is a bare ass.
Yeah, bacon. I'm drinking hot baking soda water.
That's got to be good. I'm drinking orange and honey tea.
Matthew Sainsbury is going to get some rest. Good night.
Good night, Matthew. Doug had his pants off since noon. This is
Nice.
field guy.
Good job.
Way to go. We love you, Rainey. Pants or no pants,
Thank
says
you.
Dave.
I appreciate that one. Oh my God. Yeah, you do need help.
Gonna come and sit on my lap?
No.
No, that was like definitive. That was like not even like.
No, I'm ready for
no.
bed. I slept like 2 hours last night,
Nice.
and I'm ready to go to bed. I don't want to sit down. I just want to go to bed.
Okay, you go to bed.
helping me.
You're welcome.
Yeah, you didn't need help.
Quiet.
Had
So excuse
anxiety,
me.
indigestion, and bad dreams last night.
Yuck. That's quite a mix.
And then I'm pretty sure the dog shit on the bed, but ate her shit because the bed smelled like shit. So
There's certain things that make dogs undesirable. That's one of them.
yeah, shitting on the bed. I don't know why she shits on the bed.
Yep.
She's gonna end up dead, dumb dog.
There you go. Thank you, Teresa. Call everyone you know who appreciates a good read, a good book, and send them the Kickstarter links.
Right?
And all you have to do to get the short Kickstarter link, go to the Kickstarter and click on the little tab that shows the greater than and less than with the slash in between. Here, I'll even give it to you right here. Let's see. I can give you the. Let's see.
Oh, I should tell you now so I don't forget. Mike Mucka's stopping by tomorrow around 5 o'clock.
He told me. Oh, he said in the morning.
In the morning? Jeebus.
So
5 o'clock in the morning?
No, I don't think it was 5 in the morning.
Because he said he was going to stop over after work around 5 o'clock.
Where'd my window go? Oh, after work. Okay, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
Client, guys. There. That is the short link for the Kickstarter page.
Baking soda water.
Nicely done.
Here, go back. I want to see that image you did for Mike.
Okay.
Where'd it go? Dun, dun. There you
Right
go.
there.
He kind of, when we were talking at Scouts, he wanted the deer up here. And then that, I don't think he wants his name. He just wanted the.
He asked me to put Mooka in.
Okay, well, cool.
And I had them stacked. I had the deer head up on top, Old Milwaukee beer in the middle, and his name at the bottom. And he said he wanted it to look like his. So I didn't know if he meant just the color of the deer or the layout. I think it would be better if they were stacked, but.
We'll stack it, and put it on a mock-up and send him.
He said that'll work.
Because when I was at Scouts, he wanted the
We're
deer on
talking
top.
business here.
Yeah, we're talking business. Mind your own business. We're talking business. He wanted the deer on top, and then I said maybe possibly on both sides, so you got to see it on both sides versus
Okay.
one. But you can.
Yeah. Do something.
He's
We'll see what
getting
he
some
likes.
old Milwaukee stuff made.
He has like blaze orange caps for hunting with a deer on it and the Old Milwaukee logo.
Old Milwaukee.
And he wanted us to put it
Gear
on tumblers for him.
for the
So
hunting
there you go.
cabin and the boys.
Yeah, the boys.
The boys.
So
He doesn't talk like that though.
I want an image of a slap. Like that. Slap. When you say stack, it's Doug's business. There you go. So,
Hey, you guys like my sweater? I made it.
yeah, she made
don't
that
put
sweater.
it too far down.
Well, no. I wasn't trying to. So there. That's her sweater. We
Add
did
it.
that art. She made the sweater.
Ink bleed though. So I
Oh,
got
yeah.
that line.
Little ink bleed.
I cleaned my printer, and now my 11 by 17 paper comes out with that ink bleed on the side.
Yeah.
Dave
sucks.
Potter, what's with the baking soda water? I've had really bad indigestion, and versus using pharmaceuticals that cause cancer and kidney issues, baking soda water does it.
There you go. Oops.
Baking soda water. And
Yes,
then
it does.
I usually take like 1/8 of a teaspoon and put it in 2 to 4 ounces, and I mix it up, and then I drink it fast because then I can feel it bubble in my stomach.
Belches. Blah.
And then I shake like this really fast and mix it around.
Do that again.
I spilled my water all over. No, I'm
Yeah,
not
you
gonna.
did.
And
No,
then I
she's
shake
not
all
gonna.
around, and then I shake.
I don't get nothing.
I just spilled all over you, ding dong.
We'll set your cup down.
Uh-oh.
See, I have a solution.
But then I shake, and it gets all mixed up in my belly, and then what is it? Baking soda makes the acidity go down, or cuts out the acidity, and then I get really big gas bubbles, and then I burp. And then all my indigestion and real gas that was there before the baking soda goes away.
Roger Rabbit. So if we super chat, does the camera go lower? Super chat's money.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
How much
can
you
do that.
got?
Let me stretch out my sweater.
Yeah. We on occasion played strip chess at Scotch and Cookies. This was
Not
before
me.
we were dating.
I just
And-
watched.
And
Field guy, you never burp. Drink some baking soda water.
and that's where strip chess, if you lost a piece, you had to remove a piece. And so, you know, it went down to, do shoelaces count? So
Here, Carly said she'll have to try the baking soda water. Seriously,
There you
try
go.
it. I love it. It's salty as hell, and it takes a lot to get used to, but I like the salt and the.
I can't drink it. I'd have to slam it and let it go.
What?
It's slamming it.
Oh my god! Tell Rowan to come sit down on the couch. But yeah, an eighth of a teaspoon of baking soda and like 4 to 8 ounces of water, and drink it. And like right now, I'm burpy,
There it is.
but it really helps with the indigestion. Oh, someone's crying.
Why do I not doubt it?
And Carly says it is way better than pharmas. It is, because none of that stuff ever worked. None of that worked at all. I did what is it? I was gonna say Zoloft or Zofran. That's not it. Zyrtec. Too many Z's. I tried the Zyrtec. That didn't work. Is it Zyrtec? Is that? I don't know. There's 2 different ones I got for indigestion.
Zardoz.
Yeah, none of it works. None of it works.
So
Nice field guy. I don't burp because I fart. Nice.
that's almost a t-shirt.
Whichever
I
way
don't burp
works.
because I
All
fart
right.
nice.
My kids are crying. I gotta go to bed. Good night, everybody. Have a good night. Sleep well.
You put them
Good
to
night.
sleep.
Yeah.
Mm.
I'm not kissing you. I
Just
don't
come up
know
later.
if I got germs. Yes.
You can't sleep with them tonight.
What is going on? And you did not pick up the
So-
trash off the floor you knocked over.
They don't need mom. So
I
anyway.
don't care. You better not hit her in the face.
All right, guys. That is evening at the Roberts. So good night, Teresa. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. Proton pump drugs can cause cancer. I don't even know what those are. So we are so broke I could make it rain. I could make it hail, though. I couldn't make it rain. I could make it hail, though. Throw some change on the stage. Mama used to dance for the money they'd throw. That's what I think of when gypsy dancing, throwing the money on the stage. Antacids. Oh, she was talking about. All right, yeah. Nexium is a PPI, reflux meds. I will pop a Tums every now and then. So it's about all I do. So you'd eat Rolaids like candy. Gross. I'm glad I don't have a lot of that kind of stomach type of activity. So, all right, folks, now that you've got to see my children screaming and be sassy and my wife walk around pantsless, even though you couldn't see the best part of that. I thought somebody came out. And my wife having to go to bed with the girls to get them to go to sleep is ridiculous. But there it is. That's my life. That's what my life is. I just put them to bed and I'd say, to bed before we rise at dawn. To bed before we rise at daybreak. Dave Potter, you know that bit from the movie The Road or The Trip with Stephen. Oh, I can't think of his name now. They're driving through Scotland. These two Brits. Stephen, you know who he is if you saw him. And he says, looking at these hills as we're driving through Scotland, he says, it always makes me think of the olden days, you know. And he says, so I just want to say, lads, to bed, for we rise at daybreak. And as they're driving along, they say, why did it always have to be daybreak? Why couldn't it be, lads, to bed, for we rise at 8:30. Lads, to bed, for we rise at 8:30 and make for the battlefield after breakfast. And they kept going on with that. Lads, to bed, for tomorrow we rise mid-morning. And let's see, a half-hour ride to the battlefield. Breakfast would take about an hour, and then clean up, of course. So, we lads to bed, we rise at 9:30 for 10, and arrive at the battlefield at 11:30. So on and on it went. So, to bed, for tomorrow we rise at daybreak. I fell asleep right after I got home, said Field Guy. Not better than once more into the breach, my friends. Once more into the breach. Is it into or unto? Once more unto the breach. Yeah, it's a good line. We were talking yesterday about we happy few, we band of brothers from Henry V. So 7 o'clock comes fast. It sure does. That's when we get up to get the kids ready for school. If I'm not already up. What did Roger Rabbit do now? I don't even see it. Must have been a ways back. I don't even see his comments. I got to scroll back up. Roger Rabbit says, wow, he's way up there. Where'd he go? I'm looking for the last comment of Roger Rabbit. There it is. We are so broke I couldn't make it rain. That's the last one I'm seeing. To bed, lads, for we rise at noon and conquer lunch. There it is. Was it that the not making being so broke that you don't have money to make it rain? You couldn't make it rain or something like that? Is that the one? Oh, is it gone? 'Cause I didn't see it. Did he withdraw it? As the owner of the chat room, I should be able to see it, but oh well. So, all right, guys. What time is it? It's 10:29. The show ended a little over a half an hour ago. Oh, it was better? Oh, well. So, guys, we've got 2 days, roughly 5, 7, about 65 hours left on the Kickstarter page. And if you have not donated, but it's all becoming academic now, I don't think we'll raise $16,000 in the next 65 hours, though it's been done. I mean, different causes. I know when I had my heart surgery 5 years ago, my daughters raised $45,000 for me in a day. They just put it out to all their followers, their friends, their mermaid people, and said, look, my dad, if he doesn't work, there's no money. And he's in the hospital now. If you could donate to this, appreciate it. And they raised $45,000 in a day. So it can be done. And it depends on the cause. It makes me wonder if people just aren't into books, not into history books, or what it is. So, good night, Barbie D. So, if you have not had a chance to give over there, go give. If we do not make our goal, nobody's charged. So, this helps show our publisher. It puts you on our list, so there's a list of people we can go by to say we're going to go ahead and we'll go ahead and publish, and when it's available, these are people that could buy the book, took a look at it. Field Guy doesn't read. Oh, you don't know what you're missing. My brother works at the library, has a book fan, he's a book fan. He has an entire room of books at his house. Yeah. We've got a good, we've got several thousand volumes of books in this house. And they're kind of scattered because we don't have a library room here at the house. So, what is this thing you call reading, says Carly. Yeah, it's a thing that takes time. I realize that. I have lots of books I'm reading right now. So somebody had the perfect meme. It showed like you're looking up at a slanted wall of a stairway going up or something with a wall, and it showed a woman's head over the top glaring down, and it was an actress. I can't remember who it was, but it says, my books watching me buy other books. My books I haven't finished reading yet, watching me buy other books. So that's pretty much it. Thank you, Carly. Your guys are half the entertainment, so I like it. I've got like 30 books I need to finish. I've got a stack of unfinished books that is monumental. And I'll never finish them all because I pick up a new book and I start reading that one. So what have I got over here? Just over here in this area alone. If I show you this particular bookshelf, now that's a nothing bookshelf. That's not a... all of those books are books I've started reading. There's only a few in there that I have read in their entirety. There's a few up there laying on their sides, a few there. I've read most of these. And, oh, that's the one that, probably seen this picture before, but that's the one where I illustrated the cover of this book. And, that's here. I got to turn this. See if we can do this without the light just totally. And I drew Rainy into the cover. And that was about 10 years ago, at least 10, 12 years ago when this came out. And just looking for the copyright date. Think it's in here. Maybe not. There's the prologue. Where's the legal page? There it is. This came out in 2010. So the book came out in 2010. So I did the painting about the time that Flynn was born. And so there's Rainey painted into the front cover as a 1941-42 woman who was the leading role in the story. That's just happened to be up here on the bookshelf. So, and I got that up there. Bada boom. So there you go. Anyway, let's see what else we got before we get out of here. Field Guy just ordered that book for reading material. This is Roger Rabbit. Yeah, smart people know when to stop reading a book, says Iowa X. Agreed. Grumpy Stack has over 600 million books he needs to finish. If I can't finish them, I'm selling them for $1 each. Huh. You're set for life, brother. Just take half of those and sell them. Selling all my books for $1 a piece. Well, half of them. That'll be 300 million, please. Did I say hi to Sean Stroik? Hey, Sean. Good to see you. Ha! I'm not saying hi to Sean, says Grumpy. Dude thinks he can come in late and all. Yeah, we're almost signing off here, Grumpy, Sean. So you made it for the sign off. Anyway, that's good. So, and my wife running around pantsless. So it's a good thing, you know, the good stuff was like down at this level and right about there. So she wasn't showing anything off. She was just pantsless. So anyway, so folks, that's all. That's all we got. For the few of you, the happy few, we happy few who are left tonight, I want to thank you for being here. Thanks for putting up with my familial stuff that goes on when they think they can get away with it. And see, it's already quiet over there. So she's got them down and sleeping. So it just required one of us to be there. And I look forward to the days when my children don't want mom or dad crawling into bed with them to help them get to sleep. Now, let me say that the right way. It's my twin daughters. They wanted me to come in and sing them to sleep or read them to sleep when they were 17 and 18 years old. It's not the same thing as the little ones saying, I can't go to sleep unless you're falling asleep next to me. That's different. So, yeah, damn heartburn. Sorry about it, guys. Or Field Guy. So, oh, and Grumpy Stack, I want you to live long and prosper. All right, guys. I'm going to get out of here because I'm tired too. I'm going to go to bed and I'll hopefully drag my wife to bed. If those little kids are asleep and they haven't put her to sleep in the process. So, and that's all I know. That's all I know. That's all I got. So again, Doug Stack, live long and prosper. And all of you too. Good night. Thanks for being here.
You're listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.